Right now as you watch this video, someone legally owns the moon. Not a country. Not NASA. Not the United Nations. One single man from Nevada owns the entire moon. He also owns Mars, Venus, Mercury and several other planets. And here is the most shocking part, nobody has been able to stop him. Not the United States government. Not the United Nations. Not even NASA. This is the extraordinary true story of Dennis Hope, the man who owns the moon. Dennis Hope was not always a powerful man. In 1980 he was a broke, recently divorced former used car salesman living in Nevada. He had worked as an actor, a ventriloquist and a cabaret performer. None of those jobs made him rich. He was desperate for money and had no idea what to do next. One evening he sat at his window staring out at the night sky. The moon was full and bright outside his window. And then a thought entered his mind that would change his life forever. What if nobody owns the moon? What if it is just sitting there unclaimed, like a giant piece of land waiting for someone to take it? Hope rushed to his local library the very next day. He picked up a copy of the 1967 United Nations Outer Space Treaty. He read every single word carefully. Article 2 of that treaty states clearly, no nation by appropriation shall have sovereignty or control over any satellite bodies. Hope read that line again and again. The treaty banned countries from claiming the moon. But there was something missing. The treaty never once mentioned individuals. Not a single word about private citizens claiming ownership of celestial bodies. Hope could not believe what he was reading. He had found what he believed was the most valuable legal loophole in human history. On November 22, 1980, Dennis Hope took the boldest step of his life. He wrote a formal declaration of ownership. He claimed the entire surface of the moon as his personal property. He also claimed Mars, Venus, Mercury and several moons of other planets for good measure. He sent this declaration directly to the United Nations headquarters in New York. He also sent copies to the United States government and the Soviet Union government. In his letter he stated clearly, "If you have a legal objection to my claim, please contact me immediately." Then he waited. Days passed. Weeks passed. Months passed. Not a single response came from anyone. The United Nations never replied. The United States government never replied. The Soviet Union never replied. In Dennis Hope's mind, silence meant approval. He was now the legal owner of the moon. Hope wasted no time turning his moon ownership into a business. He started small, sitting in local bars in Nevada with a stack of deeds in his coat pocket. When people asked what he did for a living, he would smile and say, "I sell the moon." Most people laughed at him. Some people were curious enough to buy. He charged just $20 for 1 acre of lunar land. For $25 you could also own the mineral rights to your acre. Word spread slowly but steadily. By 1995 his business was generating enough money that he quit every other job. Selling moon land became his only source of income. He trademarked the name Lunar Embassy and built one of the strangest websites in internet history. What happened next surprised even Dennis Hope himself. His list of customers began to include some of the most famous names in the world. Tom Cruise bought land on the moon. Tom Hanks bought land on the moon. Clint Eastwood bought land on the moon. Star Wars creator George Lucas bought land on the moon. Former United States Presidents Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter and George W. Bush all own lunar property. Hollywood actress Nicole Kidman owns moon land. Barbara Walters owns moon land. In total, over 6 million people across the world have purchased land on the moon from Dennis Hope. His company has generated over $12 million in revenue. All from selling something that experts say he does not actually own. Not everyone found this amusing. Legal experts around the world were furious. Tanya Masons-Vaughan, president of the International Institute of Space Law, stated publicly, "What Lunar Embassy is doing does not give people the right to ownership of the moon." Ram Jakku, a space law professor at McGill University, said simply, "I do not see a loophole." Legal experts argue the 1967 treaty applies to individuals through their governments, not just to nations directly. 2 entire countries tried to take legal action against Dennis Hope. Germany attempted to prosecute him for fraud. Sweden also attempted to indict him. Both cases were dropped, because nobody could agree on which legal jurisdiction applied to moon ownership. You cannot sue someone for selling the moon if no court in the world has authority over the moon. China took the most extreme action, banning the lunar embassy entirely and declaring it illegal on charges of profiteering and lunacy. Dennis Hope did not stop at selling land. In 2004 he created something even more extraordinary. He formed the Galactic Government, a fully functioning democratic republic for extraterrestrial landowners. The Galactic Government has a written constitution. It has its own Congress with elected members. It has its own currency called the Delta. It even has its own patent office. Hope declared the Galactic Government a sovereign nation not bound by United Nations rules. Incredibly, the United States government later acknowledged Hope's work. He was named co-chairman of the Republican Congressional Business Advisory Council. He received the National Republican Leadership Award. He was awarded the Republican Gold Medal, the highest honor the Republican Congressional Committee can give. A man who claims to own the moon receiving awards from the United States government. You truly cannot make this up. Dennis Hope is now in his 70s and still running the lunar embassy. 1 acre of moon land sells today for around $22 plus tax. Some buyers have spent over $25,000 on city-sized plots. Hope claims his personal net worth exceeds $100 trillion, if you count the value of all the celestial bodies he owns. He has ambitious plans to build a massive pyramid on the moon to accommodate thousands of visitors. He believes his galactic government will one day be recognized by the world's nations. Meanwhile, space agencies and private companies like SpaceX and NASA are preparing to actually land humans on the moon again. When they do, they will technically be landing on land owned by Dennis Hope. Whether they will pay him rent is another question entirely. The Dennis Hope story raises a question that humanity will need to answer very soon. As space travel becomes real and accessible, who actually owns space? In 2015, the United States passed the Commercial Space Launch Competitiveness Act. This law allows American citizens to own resources they extract from space, but not the land itself. Luxembourg passed similar laws for European citizens. The race to claim space resources is already beginning. Asteroids in our solar system contain minerals worth quadrillions of dollars. The moon contains vast reserves of helium-3, a fuel that could power the entire Earth for thousands of years. Dennis Hope saw this coming 40 years ago when he was just a broke man staring at the moon from his window. Whether his claim is legal or not, his story reminds us that the boldest ideas often begin with one person asking a simple question. What if nobody owns that? Dennis Hope, a broke ventriloquist from Nevada, claimed the moon in 1980 with nothing but a library book and a letter. He built a multi-million-dollar business from it. 6 million people bought his product. Governments tried to stop him and failed. He created his own nation and received awards from the United States. And to this day, nobody has legally proven him wrong. If you found this story as extraordinary as we did, Curio Strike has a lot more where this came from. We cover the most mind-blowing facts about the world every single week. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because you will not want to miss what is coming next. See you in the next one.